Welcome, everybody. Today we are going to do a little fun lesson on how to actually use the Khan Academy hints in order to solve problems. Right now, currently, let's take our second period class here, for example. They have had assigned several different assignments here, and especially two-step equations. About half the class has finished it, and that's not bad. We have till November 12th to get it done. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 assignments here assigned on different dates, October 13th and October 20th, and they're all due on November 12th for a lot of points in classwork. So we want to go ahead and look at the two-step equation. If I was to click on that, it would launch to two-step equations. And I have several tools here. It tells me that this is a 7th grade standard, equations and expressions. And I see that it's a two-step equation I should have learned in 7th grade. So it's very important that I learn this now. I have a constant 3 equals g divided by -4. So I have a variable term. There's a variable, and I'm going to rewrite that as a fraction, -5. There's another constant. And I'm asked to solve this for g. So I might try to solve it here on this equation. I can use the tool 3 equals g over -4 minus 5. And I might also do this with my on my paper at my desk, because that's how I'm going to learn. I'm going to be writing this problem down on a piece of paper. 3 equals g over -4 minus 5. Now the goal here is to learn from any mistakes that I might make. So if I go back and I'm looking at my paper, have I written the problem down? Have I put down that this is two-step equations? And I should have learned it in 7th grade. Now this kind of note-taking is very important. So note-taking is very important because it accesses the really deep thinking part of your brain. So it accesses the academic brain. And by writing things down, it's more powerful. So you're writing, you're thinking, and you're discussing in your head if you're in your self-checking. And you're trying to find success by successfully answering problems. So this is all about you developing into a self-regulated learner. So if I was going to solve this problem, I'll go back to this tool I have here. I first realized that I need to draw I'm going to write this. We've talked about writing this as a fraction first. So 3 equals -1. Remember, this is a 1g here. There's a 1. So I can write this as a fraction. 1/4 g minus 5. So now I have my I'm ready to do my two-step equation. So 2 steps. I'm going to just write S1. I'm going to draw this vertical line. You're going to do this on your paper. You're drawing a vertical line. Remember, we find the variable term first, VT. So I want to ID that, and the constant, and the constant. And you'd be doing this all on your paper because this is a difficult problem to solve in your head. And remember the first, we go to the variable term. We find the constant on that side. On the right side is what we have to get rid of. Our goal is to get G by itself. We want, at the end, we want G all by itself. I need one G. So I first have to get rid of the minus 5 by adding 5. We call that the additive inverse. Plus 5. Okay, I draw my addition line. And I slash out the minus 5 plus 5. I don't need to write a 0 down here. If I owe $5 and I pay the guy $5, then I don't owe anything left. And I have common term over here, 3 plus 5, pretty simple. That's 8 equals negative 1/4 G. All right. And now what I have to do is I have to, if I have a fraction coefficient, I need to multiply times negative 4 over 1. That's called the reciprocal. Negative 1/4, and I flip it over. I take the numerators now in the denominator in the numerator, and over here times negative 4 over 1. My result of when I multiply by the reciprocal is a positive 1G, and now I just need to do this math. Okay, well, that's 8 over 1, so I do numerator to numerator is negative 32, negative times a positive. And the denominator 1 times 1 is 1, so I can just write negative 32. And then I'm going to check. And I would do all this on my paper, of course. All right, got it right. So that's great. Now it's a lot faster if I do a problem like this on my paper. So now I'm going to solve this one. And I'm going to make a mistake here so that you can see that what it looks like when you make a mistake. Negative 30 equals 5 times x plus 1. And we'll do it on our paper this time. So I'm going to try to solve it. Okay, I'm going to see, oh, there's a parentheses here, so I'm going to distribute. And I'm going to go negative 30 equals 5x plus 1. Okay, so I've made a mistake here because I did 5 times x. I have an error here that I know because I know how to do it, but you might not. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to solve this. I find the VT, the variable term, constant. I need to get rid of this constant. I'm going to draw a little vertical line. And now I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. Negative 30 minus 1 is, let's say, negative 29. And that's another error. So I've made 2 really big errors so far. And I have, I slash this out. Oh, and I have 5x equals negative 29. I divide by 5. And I get x equals negative 29 over 5. So I think I've got the right answer, negative 29 over 5. And I'm going to go ahead and type it in here. Negative 29 divided by 5. And now I'm going to hit check. And oh no, darn it, not quite. I need to get some help. So as you can see, when I hit the help button, this expanded all the help. Oftentimes you can see it one at a time. But I have, look, I have videos that'll support me. Intro to two-step equations. That would be a good one to start with. There's a worked example. There's a really much more difficult example. And then there's this one, which is intuition. That's kind of mental math. So I need to look at this, and now I'm going to need to go through each step. So first one, we need to do inverse operations at some point to get x by itself. So we have here, it says, oh, they have a different method. Instead of distributing, they divided both sides by 5. That's interesting. That's a totally different way. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to look through and write it down their way. So let me start with negative 30 equals 5 times x plus 1. And they said you could divide both sides by 5. So I'm going to go to this step here and write it. Divide by 5. Now I'm writing this on my paper because I want to learn it. So I'm writing it. Okay, so they did this. Well, I know that negative 30 divided by 5, I think it's 6. Oh, wait, is it negative or positive? Let me go back to the hints here. It says negative 30 divided by 5. If I track it down on the left, it says it becomes negative 6. Okay. All right. And on the right side, it has this crossing off. See, they have a 5 in the numerator and a 5 in the denominator. It's a cross, and they've cross canceled, and they're left with just x plus 1. So I'm going to copy what they've done. So I'm learning. They slashed out the 5s because the 5 goes into 5 once. And all that remained was x plus 1. Looks like a pretty good, simple thing. I think I could solve it from there. I think I could subtract 1 from both sides and get x equals negative 7. But that looks really, really good. X equals negative 7. Okay, so this is definitely wrong. I'm going to try to fix that too. Let me double check. Okay, they did subtract 1 from both sides. Okay, they did it laterally. That's okay. The answer is negative 7. Now let's see if I can get the other answer that I was working on to negative 7 by doing some correcting. So this is a weird fraction. I think I made a mistake here. 5 times x is 5x plus. Oh, I should have multiplied 5 times 1. So this should be 5. And instead of subtracting 1, I should have subtracted 5. Negative 30 minus 5. I might make another error, but maybe I'll grab a calculator. And I type in on my calculator negative 30. So I push the negative button, 30. And then it says minus 5. So I'm just going to go minus 5 or plus a negative, but I'm not going to do minus a negative. Oh, it's negative 35. Okay, well, I still have negative 35 divided by 5 and 5 divided by 5. Well, we know these cancel, and we have 1x. But negative 35 over 5, that's a mistake. So let's just exit out. We know the answer is negative 7. Well, now I know negative 35 divided by 5 is negative 7. So I'm learning, I'm self-regulating, and finding success. I'm learning from my mistakes. But I have to go really slow and one step at a time. So let me change this answer here to negative 7. And now I can move on. Oh man, I've seen this problem before. I could probably solve it. But again, you could, if you're totally lost, you can go straight to the hint. You have to give it a try. Subtract 3, that's 11. I'll use a little mental math. 11 times 4 is 44. Let's say I made a mistake and put 43. Oh, I get help. And again, they're showing you can subtract 3 from both sides and then multiply times 4 over 1, and you get the answer, 44. So this is getting you through it pretty quickly. Also, maybe you don't have the greatest result, but you do learn and you get it finished and turned in. So please, you're going to want to take an image of your work. So you can do that. Either you have it here, but let's say you had, you can always take a picture of your work by opening a doc, any work that you did. You could just go insert an image, and you could do it by camera, and I need to select a camera. You will only have one camera option. I have my document camera plugged in, but if I had the right camera selected, I could take the image. Okay.